Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Sudhakar. I am the co-founder and chief marketing officer of SME Analytics. I am associated with Mr. Nilesh Desai Saab past 5 years, and he's a very dynamic person with lot of vision and mission and values. He is passed out his engineering from Baroda University in metallurgy and worked for SMEs for the last 41 years. And he's, in fact, written a book on exploring unexplored gold mines, and then he's in the second book he is writing on um, um, second book on so he is in the second book, and now Mr. Desai is yeah. So he is fond of writing daily newsletters to spread awareness about the MSMEs world. Mr. Desai has a vast experience of 41 years, as I told you, in the engineering industry. He is a member of various committees and represents the interests of MSMEs. He's traveled extensively all over the world and has a business association in Australia. Both his sons are working in Australia. He keeps shuttling between India and Australia quite frequently. So this is the introduction of the founder and CEO of SMEA Analytics Private Limited. We are based in Hyderabad, to be more precise, Secunderabad. And now, Sir Nilesh Desai sir will take over. Thank you, sir.
The SME analytics are working to increase the operational efficiency of MSME. So, 2-3 things for operational efficiency we have covered in the past seminar, but today's seminar is on knowledge management. The first question which comes to anybody's mind is the difference in data, information, and knowledge. It's a common misconception for people to use terms such as data, information, knowledge, interchangeability. But they all are separate. So let us define this extensively so that we can see data. In basic form, data is a set of different symbols and characters whose meaning only becomes clear when they connect with the context. Collecting and measuring information. Computers can be good to crunch data. Now they are learning to make sense of it with the help of machine learning. So data gets converted into information with the context, and with further processing, it will become knowledge. And these are all, everything is different. So next slide. So the definition of information: data reduce a more complex level and becomes information by integrating them into context. The information provides expertise. If data is connected to the name of the person, becomes information. Suppose somebody is born on some date, the date until it is linked with the name of the person. And definition of knowledge: knowledge thus describes the collected information that is available about a particular fact or a person. The knowledge of the situation makes it possible to make informed decision and solve a problem. The knowledge influences the thinking and action of people. So it is represented nicely in this. Data is on one side, information it moves, and then authoritative capacity and past experience will process that to a decision-making process. So data is raw, information is processed, and knowledge is actionable. And this is all adaptive in a way. So this picture gives a clear idea, the difference between data, information, and knowledge. Next, please. There are two kinds of knowledge, implicit knowledge and explicit knowledge. Knowledge that is not written down or stored digitally is known as implicit knowledge. So say our daily activities, whatever we come out of the bed and go to sleep, many things are not written, but it is followed that because of our earlier experiences, our earlier data, what time we have to eat, what time we have to sleep, all that is implicit knowledge. And explicit knowledge, knowledge that is written down and accessible. Examples are training manuals, written policy, etc. So implicit knowledge, embedded knowledge of processes, culture, routines, and habits is implicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is freely available, codified, formalized, articulated knowledge. So we often use Google, and Google tries to give explicit knowledge, but that is an idle example. In many companies, we have got a training manual, or some of Amazon has got a standard written policies of Flipkart. These are all written down, well documented, so it becomes very easy for the person to handle the situation. Next, please. Next, please. So this is one of the example which we got it, connecting dots. So knowledge is something, it is scattered. When we collect this, then it becomes experience. And suppose if it is different, the same dots are separately connected, it becomes creativity. So knowledge, experience, and creativity. Knowledge is scattered like data, but when it is connected in various forms, it becomes experience. And from experience, if we are able to do creative this thing, this is how connecting dots is very critical. Next, please. Key difference between data, information, and knowledge. This is I am trying to explain. Data is fragmented piece of symbols and characters strung together. Information is refined data, whereas knowledge is useful information. Additionally, data can lack context when looked at singularly, whereas information gives context to data, and knowledge brings depth in understanding to such information. Second, data and information alone are not sufficient to make any prediction, while knowledge prediction is possible if one possesses the required experiences. Suppose if I get something with my all experience, I can move that dots or data into a information and then process and can make a decision for guiding my staff and my employees to get something out of whatever I have got. Next, please. Key difference. The third is you can't use data to make any statement, while information is data strung together, forming statements. Knowledge brings the ability to have a deduced conclusion using piece of information together. So when you go to update your passbook in the bank, they just give the statement, whatever your transacted. So they use the data of your issued checks or received credit into information, And that once you see your knowledge, see your passbook, you can decide how much money you want to withdraw or you will have to deposit. So that is all how it is simplified. Data cannot independently be a basis for question formation. Information is a text that answers the question, a who, when, what, and where. See, please understand. Information is a text that answers the questions, a who, when, what, and where. While knowledge is a text that answers the question of why and how. See, this 5W and 1H is divided into 4 on one side for information and 2 on other side of the knowledge. The final difference we can consider is that data and information are easily transferable, while transferring knowledge requires learning. So today's webinar, we are going to learn how to make the transferring knowledge easier way. Next, please. Next, please. What is knowledge management? Now let us come to, see, I have explained you data, information, and knowledge. Now what is knowledge management? Knowledge management is the process of creating knowledge, capturing knowledge, organizing knowledge, accessing knowledge, and using knowledge. So these are the things. There are 3 levels of knowledge management: individual, team, and organization level. Next, please. Individual level focuses on the knowledge exchange between employees in the same or different team. So every individual will have some knowledge, and when it is exchanged between 2 employees or 2 people of the same group or different group, like where you come from, when we meet somebody in the seminar, we use that and we try to exchange the individual level. At team level, focuses on the interaction among team members on doing collaborative cooperation in order to evaluate the information. Next, please. Organization level, knowledge management concerns the mechanism that supports and facilitates knowledge distribution across individuals in the organization. Organization performance can be measured using 3 approaches. See, any organization will have these 3 approaches: encompassing profit, sales growth, and market share. Every entrepreneur worth of its salt will be always bothered about this. Next, please. So, knowledge management may lead to innovation. So that is why, what is innovation? Innovation is a process to make change, big or small, suddenly or gradually, to produce, to process, and to serve, in which its result is introducing something new from the organization and adding value for the customers and contributing to add new knowledge in the organization. So how the innovation is coming? So innovation is coming like ideas, intelligence, solution, inspiration, creativity, and vision. Small things can lead to a big innovation. A few 2 or 3 decades back, one person named as engineer realized that human as a person has got fear, and he created for fire resistance extinguisher, which are useful in the car as well as in the home. And he made a lot of money. That is a pain point he realized, and he encased his advertisement was on the topic of creating fear, and his product was sold at 800, 900 rupees at that time. So many people have purchased. So he has got an idea, he has applied individual inspiration, creativity, vision that led to a solution. Next, please. Knowledge management is a system that has proved to be key factor in improving innovations and thus improving business performance. any business today, latter part of second slide or third slide, I'll be describing this in more detail. So another definition, organization's knowledge should be managed in alignment of the business goal to help to create value and generate competitive advantage. One more definition, unlocking and leveraging the knowledge of individuals so that collective knowledge becomes available as an organization resource. So this is explained in slides, where this 6 or 7 steps that leads to the innovation. Next, please. In today's business world, companies face major challenges to survive and excel in a highly competitive environment. This is more true for MSMEs and more true after COVID. External factors such as weak economics, increasing cost of raw material, declining consumer sentiment, unfavorable market trend, as well as some internal constraints like including resources limitation. MSME does not have a very large resources, so they have to limit the use of resources more. They have to be very efficient, and liquidity problem has made entrepreneurs to think about new ways of value creation for successfully managing their business. This can be achieved by producing knowledge-based products and or services. So both tacit and explicit organization knowledge has become a core competence of organization for performance and competitiveness. Hence, concept of knowledge management assumes greater importance. Next, please. Next, please. Key objective of knowledge management in organization include best practices, increasing employees' capabilities, customer market information, process improvement, leveraging intelligent capital, new product development, customer relationship management. Next slide. For better implementation of knowledge management practice in MSME, following factors influence it: ownership, business strategy, organized structure and culture, decision-making process, IT infrastructure. Next, please. I'll be explaining that this thing. Employees turnover in MSME, employees turnover is high because they absorb fresh who are always in search of better opportunity. Once they leave, they take knowledge with them. That is a very critical problem in particularly MSME all over the world. They have to depend on freshers or young graduates, and they are always search of a better opportunity. So they leave the organization in 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years time. When they leave the organization, they take whatever knowledge has been generated in the working with the organization, they take away, and replacing that person it becomes costly affair for MSME. So if that MSME has saved what that gentleman who has left has done in a document, then it may become easier for next person to come in. There is always a very heavy cost of training these freshers. That also goes down when he leaves. So to save that, knowledge management is critical in any software world. Whosoever are doing either product or services, this documentation, project management, this thing is becoming crucial so that they are not getting disturbed because of transfer of one employee from one department to other department. And anybody can come in, read the document, and start working on that project in a shortest possible time. In many small MSMEs, Succession plan in family-owned business is the second requirement. So his father is handing over the reins of his business to his son. That knowledge transfer has to be done. Sometimes premature death of a promoter makes the son to come into the business and run. See, the very famous case is of Azim Premji. His father died when he was studying in America and he was only 22 or so, and he has to return to India. That is a well-known case for a lot of people, and all of a sudden he is faced with so many challenges before he comes out with Wipro. And while creating Wipro also, there was a lot of resistance from his existing shareholder at that time. Third thing is acquisition. Say, suppose one small company is acquiring another company, then acquisition, knowledge in that existing unit is becoming critical. Knowledge management is becoming critical. So many takeovers or acquisition, one condition they put to ask that promoter to continue for a year or two in the same thing, so that the handing over of knowledge becomes easier. And layoffs, many times, and many companies have to give layoffs for reasons of labor unrest or many such things like COVID. Some of the units may have asked their employees to leave. And in that case, that employee who has left has taken the valuable asset of the company by the way of knowledge. Next slide, please. Business strategies. This is very critical. MSMEs have got limited resources and they have to implement knowledge management. They have to try less expensive and more interactive tools and systems. So see here, there are 2-3 policies. Management by postponement. Now those days, a lot of entrepreneurs and their staff does it. Kal kar lenge, parso kar lenge. But to execute these kind of things faster, many entrepreneurs has come out with saying management by wandering around. The chief executive or a promoter, he keeps roaming around the workplace and observe. So that is how he captures more knowledge many times. Next, please. Next, please. It is generally hard to create and sustain unified culture in MSME. So for implementing a more successful knowledge management initiative is to use short-term culture, where mandating, reinforcement or giving incentive can be tried. So how do you start this process? So these are the few tips. Or another is a job rotation, where each employee learns diverse skills and help continuity in case of absenteeism. So this also, so today in my office, one girl has gone on leave all of a sudden for medical emergency. Then my other staff has to fill in that gap. So that is where the knowledge management comes in handy. So because of the absenteeism of that girl, I have to request my co-founder, Mr. Sudhakar, to help me out so that things can be smooth. And this is, so that is why job rotation is many times helpful. Next, please. Decision-making process. This also knowledge management helping this thing. In MSMEs, both agility and responsiveness are crucial. See, MSME, both agility and responsiveness is crucial. If some customer calls and we say that I'm not available or I'll come back to you after 2 days, you may lose an opportunity. This is basically due to the limited production volume and large number of competitors compel them to make decisions promptly. So in the case earlier, if customer calls, if you are not available or you are not responsive, he will switch it to your competitor and you lose your business. So therefore, an efficient knowledge management system will provide timely and accurate knowledge and information to the entrepreneurs. Suppose knowledge entrepreneur wants to know, my customer wants a delivery in 2 days. So my key employees who manufacture that item is available or not. Within say next 10-15 minutes, he does not get an answer. Customer may switch over to somebody who can say within 2 days he can deliver. So this is a very highly competitive market. So every entrepreneur has to be on his toes. And the another critical part is IT infrastructure. As MSME has got limited resources, they have to be careful on spending on IT infrastructure. Risk, so there are two kinds of people I'm describing. Risk minimizer, that means who does not want to invest very heavily on IT infrastructure because of capital cost or because of revenue, maintenance cost or non-availability of technical staff to address the maintenance problem. They can use data warehouses, yellow pages, etc. While efficiency seeker tends to use internet, intranet, work group technologies for knowledge management. So it depends on what kind of person you are, because knowledge management is already become a very critical requirement for MSME who would like to grow their unit faster than average economic growth rate. Next, please. Critical success factor can be defined as areas in which result, if they are satisfactory, will ensure successful competitive performance of the organization. There are few success factors. A strong link to business imperative. See, factor influencing knowledge management in MSME. Which are the factors? A strong link to business imperative. So for what you are in the business, a compelling vision and architect, the vision and mission statement, knowledge leadership, say entrepreneur in the young age group, but with highly qualified technological background, may be a better person to run a business than his father or grandfather who have come in a traditional way. So knowledge leadership has to be given to this technological person. Then second, the fourth point is knowledge creating and sharing culture. See, today, YouTube has, my son was telling it, YouTube has become university. So every subject can be learned from there. So YouTube has created this kind of facility, but are our employees, including entrepreneurs, are ready to learn and share that culture? The difference is in culture. See, four things like vision, mission, value, and culture. Today, culture is becoming very critical. In end part of that, I will be talking one line or two line for that. Next, please. Continuous learning. So today, whosoever you or your employees are, they should be always in search of continuous learning. See, learning is till that you have to keep learning. Otherwise, in today's competitive world, you will be nowhere. Management, leadership, and support. For executing this kind of project, there should be management involved and they should support. Then there is important thing is measurement. Peter Drucker has said which items which can be measured can be improved. So measurement, how much is the benefit Are you getting return on investment or return on ease of doing business in your organization? All that can be by measuring, and then budgeting can be done. Organizational infrastructure, processes and activities. Knowledge management will help you to identify certain processes which are not required or was there in earlier years, but because you have adapted new technologies, including IT infrastructure, some processes may be redundant. And activities, resources. This is again a problem, big problem for MSME. Training and education. Many of my MSME friends do not understand training is a necessary activity for increasing your organizational performance. But because of faster turnover of employees, they think that training is not useful. But there is a now time has come to change that attitude. Human resources management is also one of the critical things. Next, please. Now, practical guidelines for knowledge management implementation. See, if you start talking about knowledge management in MSME, many of your employees will not be able to understand what are you talking. So, building knowledge management awareness. So, what it is going to, how it is going to help our MSME to grow, that should be sometime let people absorb at their absorption capacity, react. So it should not be from tomorrow I'm going to start knowledge management system. They should be all the people, all stakeholders, internal stakeholders should be taken into confidence. Let them ask questions, allow that thing in their mind. Again, have a meeting with them. 2-3 meetings, they may come out, they may become vocal and tell, yes, it is required or it is not required, or these are the changes or these are the things we can do. Then aligning knowledge management with the business strategy. See, many times, we don't want to collect the knowledge which may not be able to align with the business strategy. See, in my SME analytics, we want to help, we want to develop a fintech platform. And if I start searching, how can I lend money in that as a vertical integration of my this thing, then it is not right thing. So I should align my knowledge management with my business strategy. Audit knowledge, assets and resources. Right knowledge management solution. After doing that, you will have to add up the right solution. So here a lot of cautions are to be taken. Next, please. Now I am coming to the end part of my discussion. Conclusion. MSME should capture and explore not only internal knowledge of the employees, but external knowledge of customers and suppliers and their respective industries. This is earlier also, large companies may have a lot of ways to get a lot of details. So we should not only depend on our employees to start knowledge management. We also have to use suppliers and customers. What kind of feedback, what kind of competitors knowledge they share. So sometimes this fellow is giving 2,000 rupees cheaper. This may play around. So we should develop all that into a knowledge management system. MSMEs can benefit immensely from developing knowledge management system, and if employed properly, the return on investment will increase continuously. So knowledge management is a continuous process, and the return on investment will be very high. You don't have to train your employees, new employees, your attrition may go down. So these are all when you do something unusual or something more, these things, they will be speaking to you to keep their learning also better. So next, please. So what we do as SME Analytics, we have developed a tool known as Babaji, that is Business Analytics, Business Augmentation and Growth Information System, where we analyze your balance sheet and profit and loss to give you 52 various ratios. And that will help you to, suppose if you compare for 3 years of your own balance sheet, it will give you an advantage to ask why. And see, about 2 or 3 weeks back, I have said 5 whys, and that will help you to each ratio. You will come out with a different possible reasons that will again help you to identify your idle resources or partially used resources to augment your profitability. We also mentor MSMEs and startup. We ultimately want to develop a Z-score for MSME to manage insolvency risk and also to reduce rate of growth of NPA in banking sector. This is our ultimate goal for SME analytics. This thing. Next slide, please. We have recently come out with a new product known as Impulse. See, here we will be measuring soft skill and hard skill of workers and on a quarterly basis, and the changes happened in their this will be done on 18 or 20 standardized questions, and changes will be identified and told to the management that will help them to improve the teamwork, improve quality, improve innovation, reduce absenteeism and reduce attrition. This is a new service. I'm proud to announce that we already signed 2 customers from Hyderabad, and we are looking for growing this to 300 customers as fast as possible, so that we can go to Toyota production system kind of culture in our workers, and that all that data will be utilizing in various forms to predict many things, and I will be able to give you some concrete results in after about 6 months' time, and then that will be making training imperatives. Many things will come out of that. That is what I anticipate out of this Impulse. Next, please. I'm also happy to share that we have been awarded by HICIA, one of the top hottest startup in Hyderabad at recent Innovation Summit. Next, please. I am also proud to say we have been selected by Microsoft for selecting us for Founders Hub program. So they will be helping us in number of technological advancement which is required for promoting this Babaji and HR that Impulse and all that. So thank you for Microsoft. Thank you, Microsoft. Next, please. I'm also happy to share that I'm permanent resident of Australia and also citizen of India. I'm ready to offer my service as a director for Australian companies who want to expand in India. Similarly, I am ready to offer my services for Indian companies to expand in Australia. As my co-founder Sudhakar ji has said, I often travel to Australia, and my son also traveled to India. Practically once in a month or once in 2 months, we'll be meeting either in Mumbai, Hyderabad, or Melbourne, or anywhere. So anybody who is looking to expand, because recently Government of India has signed a trade agreement with Australia, so many companies will be interested to do and fro business. Next slide, please. So my next webinar is on importance of soft skill and hard skill of workers in MSME. That will be held on 2/7/2022 at 4 o'clock. And I participate in a very large number because this is SME entrepreneur he is only looking up getting more customers. He is not critically looking into how to increase his operational efficiency. By Babaji as well as this impulse, we are trying to increase their internal competitiveness to meet a world as a market rather than Telangana as a market. I am also happy to state that on 8 July 2022, we have got Bankable Business Summit coming up in Hyderabad at St. Mary Pharmacy College Auditorium from 9 to 5. And this is very good seminar for aspiring entrepreneurs, MSME entrepreneurs, traders who are around this, and existing entrepreneurs who would like to get in touch with new schemes came out with, which has recently been announced. CDB also is going to be there. We are trying to a lot of things will be available. So this is on 8 June 2022. Next, please. I request everybody to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and all my past webinars and held are be available, and my webinars are all to our MSME. As my co-founder Sudhakar ji was trying, my second will be on named as churn or burn. Many entrepreneurs, they are professionals. They leave their job in return to get more money by being an entrepreneur, and they may have particular skill, but running a business requires a lot of things, which I'm trying to explain in my second book. Next, please. Question. Next, please. These are my social media kind of contacts. Next, please. Thank you. Now we'll be open for question answer.
Very good evening.
Good evening, Manu Prakash ji.
Desai ji, very good evening. I am very happy to see that you bagged HICIA award, and Microsoft is one of the partners for our analytics. And in this scenario, can I go ahead with some sort of critical and analytical insights with your kind permission?
Yes, sir. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir. Sir, rather than knowledge management perspective of MSMEs, it's a welcome move. Yeah, and in this regard, what I opine, I am working out on one doctoral thesis right now, knowledge management, knowledge-based SMEs in Andhra Pradesh. So what I feel, so how knowledge management practices are useful in SMEs in Iran, in USA, in Australia, in India. Some sort of empirical evidences are required, what I feel. And this is my personal opinion, sir. So undoubtedly, your insights and your imperatives are in need to the SME industry. You are a pioneer in this. So what I feel as a researcher, as an AI and analytics consultant. So how these knowledge management practices, especially financial management practices, so capital mix decision is there, structure decision is there, dividend, current assets management, inventory management. So these will all come under the ambit of knowledge management. So in Iran, if you see how the Iranian companies are adapting the capital structure, the capital budgeting relating to short term or long term. So how these impact the SMEs? Yes, sir. And so if
question what you are asking is very right in the direction, but 99% of MSMEs are partnership and proprietary companies. I was to the article written by Dr. Subhash Chandra Gar, earlier Finance Secretary on MSME. What you say is right, but that will be applicable for the units more than 200 or 300 crore turnover. So technically up to 250 crore, it comes under MSME definition. But see, my target area is between, you can say between 1 crore to 50 crore units, where a lot of problems are existing, dynamism is there, but many may be facing succession planning, many may be thinking, do beti hai, kisko dena hai, all that kind of thing. So this is a very wide subject. MSME, you see, I used to say MSME is a story of blind man. So I will not go in that detail because many other people are waiting for. We are likely to meet in first or second week of July. Then we'll move further on that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next question, please.
Sir, Hanumanlu sir is waiting to talk.
Yeah, please.
So you can speak, sir. Hanumanlu sir.
Sir, Diksha sir, namaste. Congratulations.
Namaste, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, आप जितने एनालिसिस बताए, एनालिसिस करें तो फेल्यूर की बात ही नहीं रहता MSME.
Yes, sir.
आप जितने एनालिसिस बताए ना, एनालिसिस एंड मैनेजमेंट, अब वो फॉलो करें तो मैनेजमेंट का MSME का फेल्यूर की बात ही नहीं रहती.
Thank you, sir. See, these are all my past experience. When I was running my enterprise, I have to implement this knowledge management. At that time, these computers were not so well penetrated in MSME.
Yes.
When they enter, when the employees leave, ये कहाँ रखा है, वो कहाँ रखा है, उसमें दिन निकल जाते थे. तो
ढूंढने में दिन निकल जाता है, ढूंढने में चला जाता है.
हाँ, ढूंढने में आज भी टुडे MSME में 30% of time is getting wasted in locating some documents from proper places, and nobody realizes that it is affecting their profitability.
इसके लिए क्या करना पड़ता है कि 10 यूनिट 5 यूनिट एक यूनिट बना के एक प्लेटफॉर्म बना लेना, कंबाइंड प्लेटफॉर्म for this management and analysis upgradation, this information IT upgradation or information के लिए.
Yesterday we met one Mr. Sudhakar Reddy Gade. He's a business coach for leaders, and he has also suggested to form a cluster. But see, there is a saying, one Indian is equal to 5 Japanese. But 5 Indians are not equal to 1 Japanese. That is the biggest challenge for our Indian attitude. You see, they feel that he is my competitor. That's not so. Today, world is a market. Modi or government is talking continuously. Break out your mindset. See world as a market. And then lot of things will come, and you will not be competitor, you will be colleagues in the same field.
Yes.
That is requirement, sir.
One more offer is my YouTube channel with 36,000 subscribers are ready to join hands with you to market the products of MSMEs.
Sir, I am always open, sir. Hanumanlu साहब के लिए अपना जान भी हाजिर है.
Thank you. What I mean to say, MSME products को डिस्प्ले करके YouTube पे बना के डालने के लिए हम तैयार हैं.
Sir, I will also try to promote in my next webinar.
Yes.
And if you can share your slide, I will also promote in my next webinar.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
See, collaboration is the only way for growing.
Growing, yes, that is true. It is not competition, it is a one.
There is no competition now in see, I can ride on your back, you can ride on my back to grow together.
एक दो नहीं होता 11 होता.
वही एक मैं वही बोलने वाला था, आपने बोल दिया. चलो, थैंक यू सर.
Thank you.
Next,
Thank you, sir.
Next question.
How might an organization manage tactic knowledge?
See, tactic knowledge is difficult to retain, but tactic knowledge is generated. So that is why day before I was in Mumbai, and I was in my son's call center, and there are about 60 young boys, and his branch head as well as his branch address, branch head and my son as an entrepreneur. So I was talking to them as management by wandering around. You roam around in the office, solve the problems, talk to the employee one by one, whatever questions are there. That way, they are getting tactic knowledge, and they will be able to hold that knowledge in a group of employees. That is how they are doing. This can be followed by many organizations, mid-size, means about 20, 30, 40 employees. I do not know whether tactics continue to help when you become 300, 400 employees organized. I hope I answered your question. Next, please.
What's the first step in developing a knowledge management system?
Sir, first thing is bring the awareness. Bring the awareness to the your own people. Let them interact, because see, they may not be knowing. They are generating a lot of data. What is the use and all that? So they have to sail with you. So first thing is to bring awareness. Once they get geared up, this is going to be useful for the organization's betterment, and ultimately they will also be growing with the organization. That is the first level. Second, third, and fourth level I have already explained in my other slides. If you share your email address, we'll send it to you as this slide presentation. Next, please.
What are the challenges of knowledge management?
Challenges of knowledge management is not understanding the difference between data, information, and knowledge properly. Sometimes data in between some layer goes up, you may come to wrong conclusion, which by experience, knowledge management is trying to capture the experience and intelligence of all people, all stakeholders in the organization, including customers and suppliers for particularly MSME. So I hope I answered your question. Next, please.
Bhanu Prakash sir is saying by by adopting AI in operations, the cost is reduced, revenues are increased, and operational excellence would be achieved.
You are right, Bhanu Prakash ji, but the question is, our MSMEs are not ready to use Microsoft product properly. They do not know how to use cloud. They do not want, their attitude is a very difficult thing to change. So as a group of my co-founders and myself, we are trying to educate them. That is why with Yes Bank, Yes Foundation, we have tied up and we are holding many seminars virtually now because of COVID has reached this thing. So we are going to hold, and this bankable business summit on 8th July, we are also sponsoring that to bring awareness to many young aspiring entrepreneurs. Yes, suppose if 5 years now, the unit has turnover of 30 crores and above, if they do not adapt AI, they have to look for their own funeral in 10, 20 years. I hope I convincingly answered your question, Dr. Banu Prakash. Next, please.
Does organizational culture affect knowledge management?
Definitely. Organization culture is as critical as blood in your body. So it definitely affects. And with introduction of knowledge management, your vision, mission, value system will be passed to them, and slowly over a span of time, it will cultivate the culture which is captured the total system of knowledge management. It is very critical. Thank you so much. So last question. Vinay, last question.
Okay. Is knowledge management included in human resource management?
Yes, knowledge management. That is what we are doing in our impulse. See, about 2-3 weeks back, I had a speaker from Delhi. He said, we inside people, customers are people, all other stakeholders are people. Whoever we are connecting, we are not doing any business with trees or what is that, birds or sky and this thing. So ultimately, everywhere we are dealing with human. So understanding their behavior, their soft skills, their hard skills, their time management, all that will come as a part of knowledge management. Suppose a particular employee always comes late. We give 10 times warning, but he does not change his attitude. Then there are two choices. If he is a star employee, he will have to adjust to his timing, or he will have to call as a tweak. So these are the areas where in human management, it will become critical at times. So these are, that is what we are also trying to do in Impulse. Very many things will become. Now, because of paucity of time, we will try to end this here. Next speaker join in ad number. Namaskar.